Are. We definitely are today.
It happens.
Well, this is why I'm not gonna ever pick up Angela from one of these things again.
Well, see, we thought that 9:30 would always be late enough that
Yeah.
like our kids would be in bed. Surely, like this would never interfere in any way with our life. Untrue.
So
Untrue.
this is what has happened is my daughter had a late night thing where she learns coding. Hi, Lily. I love you.
Night, Lily.
Go to bed. Lily also had a birthday this week. How old are you? 5. 5.
Oh, I thought you were at least 30.
She might feel like it.
She might have it
I
better
go
together
on,
than
maybe.
us.
Maybe. Maybe. Who knows?
I'm too young to be 40.
30.
Oh, too young to
30 is
be.
more fun than 40. I'm going to tell you that right now.
She's had a whole day of being 40 and it's been rough. I'm
Oh,
gonna
goodness.
try to move my picture. I don't know how to do this. Oh, Lord. There, I'm just staring at myself.
Stop
It's all good.
my butt.
I'm
Whatever.
sorry. So my did you hear her? Remy, stop sniffing my butt. Okay.
That's because he always sniffs my butt.
Oh,
To be
good.
fair, Remy is the dog,
Remy is the dog, yes.
not her husband or something like that.
Yes. Remy
Nothing
is just
funny.
saying hello in the way doggies do.
Yeah,
But it's
checking
time
the
for you to
name
go to
tag.
bed.
But Dad said we could have video.
Okay, but not down here.
Well, I'm coming down here until Dad gets out of the bath.
Okay, can you go upstairs, please?
No.
No.
What? North Pole is AK Alaska or Arkansas? It would make sense for it to be
Park.
Alaska.
Uh, no. Yeah. I don't know. It's 9:30 at night. We're like 1 foot in the bed,
But
one
yes, so
foot
I
at the
had
sewing machine.
this is what happened today is I went to took the kids to Costco because I always go get gas at Costco on Friday and then I get dog food there. And when we were walking inside to get back to the dog food, because it's in the way back corner, you have to pass through all the other things to get the dog food. And there were giant, like it's as large as my 5-year-old squishmallows of
I
Pokemon.
saw a picture.
And um and so why don't you show the Pokemon Squishmallow you have? This is not the first large Pokemon Squishmallow I purchased for the children. No, you do not bring it all the way down. Just bring the one you have over. And
And I got my first ever giant stuffed yet. Is this? Look.
so she also you can't do one thing for one child and not for the
No,
other.
you can't.
And so this is not the Squishmallow that we got, but this is the size of the Squishmallow that we got. And we got 2 of them.
What? Both of them are the same. One is Angela's and one is mine.
Then when I lay out each stuff in.
There's not gonna be room for her in the bed. That's for sure.
There's gonna be room in the bed for me.
She needs a double bed so she has enough room for a giant squishmallows.
I
And
feel that JD needs
yeah.
like he has
Will
to have
I
a
have
second
room?
floor of a bed just for
room.
the squishmallows.
All right, go to bed.
Hot.
I love you. Mwah. Go to sleep.
I'm going to sleep.
Okay. So anyway, so I purchased 2 of these giant things because they both have to have the same thing. And they were $30 each. It's not like I blew an arm and a leg, and I had paid all my important bills before I went in.
You know how many things you could stuff
Yeah.
with that squishmallow that you couldn't even buy like fiber fill
No, you couldn't.
for?
Definitely not. But anyway, so I walk
Sorry,
into
the crafty
house.
mind is working.
I walk into the house
Mhm.
and my husband is like, I need a drink to deal with this purchase. I'm like, oh my God, it was $60 for the 2 of them. All our other bills are paid. It's okay. You still have beer money too after this.
And something to cuddle with at the end of the night.
I know. The last time I bought them giant things like that they absolutely had to have, it was this giant chicken. He snuggles with the giant chicken every night.
He loves that chick.
He loves the chicken. One time I didn't realize he had stolen it and the lights were all off and I had to turn it on for some reason. And I turn over and I look at him and he's like
Loving the chicken.
snuggled. He is a 45-year-old man who's snuggling with this chicken. And I just start cracking up laughing. This is
My
so
God.
funny.
Like, what can, I mean,
And I get it because I also need to snuggle something at night to keep my back aligned because I'm apparently of that
well, right.
age.
I agree. I always thought it was more ergonomic to
It is
like
more
love on
ergonomic.
something,
Your
you
back feels
know?
better in the morning if you know you're not like doing one of these all night. You got
Yeah, you don't
yeah.
have your shoulder in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, more love to the
But
chicken
so anyway, I ended up getting stuck picking our daughter up from her evening activity
as a punishment.
as a punishment. So that's the real reason we're late, is my husband decided he needed a shot of whiskey to deal with the fact that I bought not one but two giant
Oh,
squishmallows
that
for
would
the
have been a good opportunity for me. I could have had the shot of whiskey too.
you could have.
I
You
could
could have.
have.
And Chantel's like, I would like to see what he does after you make a doll purchase. And I'm just like, one, I don't think he truly knows how expensive American Girl dolls are
We
to be
don't
honest.
want we don't want him to know.
No, we don't. We definitely don't. But
Clearly he doesn't watch this show,
and it's easier for me to yeah, right. He never knew what
right?
we were doing when he was working full time in the business, let's be honest. He just cut the fabric. When the orders came in, he cut the fabric.
Sent
But
the packages.
yes, that was his job. But
That's
yeah,
funny.
he's hilarious. We've got North Pole, Alaska at 6:30 there. Let's see. We've got Lake Hill, Texas, Louisiana, Melbourne, Australia. Hot
In the
Saturday.
future,
It was cold and rainy all day here.
it was the rainy part was the annoying
We
part.
had like flash flooding in some areas from
Oh
like snow
gosh.
drains being backed up.
We still have some snow on the ground, but now it's just glorified mud puddles.
Yeah.
It's
Nashville.
gross.
I always
Oh,
love seeing where
Nashville.
everyone is coming from. That's the fun part for me.
Oh, I love that. And I love hearing what everybody's projects are because,
I feel like we should start with that because I've started with my
yeah.
crazy story of the night of why I was late.
Well, we had to. We had to explain why we were late, and it's because we have children. And,
We had
trying to go to the
children.
bathroom when you have
We,
children.
we had children and a husband who behaved a little bit like a child tonight.
Did you
And
just hear my thing go off? Go toot toot toot. It's
no.
because it's my bedtime.
Oh, is
My
it?
alarm just went off to be like, you need to go to bed
Was
soon.
that your Calm app reminding you
It's
of
my
time to
phone
wind
just
down?
does it every night. I think it sounds like the Mr. Clean, but it's supposed to be like lullaby.
And then I'm like yelling at them because I didn't know what I was going to do tonight. I'm yelling at them to bring down my thimble and my little scissors.
Yeah,
And they're like, what? Like, oh my God,
I know.
what a night. All
Being
right,
in charge of little people so hard.
it is apparently. Anyway,
It's very hard.
let's work it
What's
out
everybody working on? Let's
because
start with that one.
I have to figure out my own life here in a moment.
We're not sure what we're working on. We need to know what you're working on to give
I
us
have a thing.
ideas.
I have a thing out. I pulled out Tulanova because that was easy. And it was sewing
Oh,
as opposed to the crochet I've been doing.
that's true. I have a whole thing of blocks to sew sashing stuff to.
There you go.
So that's what I will probably work on at some point here.
We get subscription boxes for quilting, so a sample. So I used to run a subscription program, but that petered out.
I do get one subscription still.
Which one do you get?
I from Fat Quarter Shop, their Ruby Star. It's every 3 months. And it
Yeah.
comes with a pattern and the fat quarters and things like that. It's okay. It's not
Is
great.
it like
But
basics or is it like whatever or the latest line is?
like usually 2 lines, kind of a mashup
Okay.
of what they have. It tends to feel very similar every single time.
Yeah.
And Gwendolyn gets it too. And she was kind of reiterating the same thing. Like it's cute, but it doesn't have a lot of variety to it.
So our
But
guest has returned.
oh,
Let's see. Mary Quilting
laundry.
is working on Moda's 50th anniversary contest. Yeah, honey.
I lost my ballerina stuff yet because Stella got me. I mean,
We will look for it tomorrow. Okay.
no, I can barely sleep without it.
When did you have it last? Oh, Daddy found it.
Oh, good. That could have been a thing.
And Daddy figured it out. Daddy
Good.
helpful. Daddy for the win.
Daddy with the win. You get to cuddle the chicken tonight,
He
sweetheart.
just goes, Daddy was helpful for once in that exact same tone.
Yeah,
Just want everyone to know that that's what happened on the other side of the basement.
that's funny.
Let's see. Hand quilting time for Twyla. Donna's working on putting pages and protectors for Lori Holt so long. That is a really good way to keep organized. I love my sheet protectors for patterns. Laundry. Well,
I know, right?
gotta do it sometime, right?
We call each other and do chores.
We
So
do. She texted me today. She's like, "You want to
you
clean?"
want
And
to
I'm
clean?
like, "Oh my gosh, my day is so complicated." That
This
sounds
is what it's
awesome.
come down
But
to. Well, the body doubling or whatever, basically doing things at the same time, but we endlessly can talk, much like we do here, but
yeah, we'll
for
put in like our Bluetooth headphones so that way we can talk on our phone. And
and it's like we're together
it is,
cleaning, you
which makes
know.
it more fun somehow.
It does. It's
Not
not
that
that the
it's
cleaning
fun.
is more fun, but it's like the cleaning
It
becomes
goes faster.
secondary.
It goes faster. Although I
Oh,
did not clean while I was talking to you. I was just on the phone or on the couch the entire time.
I
I've had
may
a
have
day.
laid in my bed and stared at the ceiling for a while and saw how dirty my ceiling fan was and thought to myself, I should clean that.
We have, I don't even know how it got there because I don't see spiders upstairs ever, but it's like cobwebs everywhere. So I taught my daughter, the 10-year-old, how to use the feather duster to get rid of them. It was a very fun task for her.
Oh,
This is something that she definitely will do for cash. Um,
last time I had the duster out, Penny got a hold of it and decided to dust my face,
oh, I bet that was
of
awesome.
which case I had an asthma attack
Great.
and ended up on Benadryl for the rest of the day, trying to get over the fact that my 3-year-old decided to dust my face.
Maybe give it to the 8-year-old next time.
Yeah, no, she just kind of grabbed it and had seen me doing it. And yeah,
Yep,
because getting the
I
duster
get
put
it.
away, the likelihood of that happening,
I'm
not
fairly good,
happening.
but that was, you know,
I'm the person that always has the broom out so that I can make it look like I'm in the middle of cleaning if somebody were to pop by.
or your husband shows up early.
Yeah, which clearly I was cleaning. That's all I do, right? Yeah.
Yes, oh, you do. This is your job. This is your life.
This is the only time I ever sew. Every other time I'm cleaning, like Cinderella.
Yes,
I have
really,
mice that do this for me.
wouldn't that be fun?
I know, right? Like I
But
really wish that mice
I
could
want
sew.
the Snow White cleaning animals.
They were very pleasant.
That's what I want.
The cleaning animals so I can do the sewing.
Yes, that sounds good.
I agree.
Carrie Quilt says hello.
Hello.
But yeah,
Just watching you laying
so
in bed. Oh, I'm jealous. I
I
wish I
don't
was
know
laying in bed.
what I even have to do on this. I found a star that's not put together. There should be a
I
other
think you're
star.
pretty close to having all those stars put together.
I think I am too. I'm gonna
If
have
I
to actually
remember
cut
right.
things if I get beyond this. Yeah, this is my last star. And then I'm gonna have to fussy cut stuff, which we know I cannot do live on the internet. So I'll have to figure something else out.
Although
Midway.
you do enjoy fussy cutting. I was just fussy cutting earlier and I just kind of wanted to stab my eyes out. I'm so over it, particularly when it's not that exciting of a thing to fussy cut. Like it's not an animal
Yeah.
or something like that. It's just like a pattern that will matter enough that you need to do it really well, but also feels like maybe I should have used something that wasn't going to be so, had to be so fussy.
Donna says she made 10 blocks in the last few days and finished 2 quilt tops in a week. So she's quite productive.
Donna,
So
I don't know how you do that because
she must wake up, so hit repeat.
she has those mice we were talking about, the
Yeah,
sewing
the mice do
mice.
the cleaning. Or her husband travels a lot, so and she doesn't have kids in the house. So the mess that she's made is her own that she
It's her
can fix
horses.
as
They
wrong.
sew.
Yes. She just has to take care of all the animals. That I'm sure takes.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Me taking care of all my animals, I feel like 3 animals is enough.
No, I understand. We had a
Yeah,
conversation the other day that as much as we love having 3 dogs, maybe that should never happen again. because
Yeah.
it's a little much. Mostly because I have nowhere to sleep in the bed. Like this
Wait,
morning,
why do they have to choose our side?
my husband had gotten up, the whole side of the bed was open, and I had Basset Hound and Basset Hound by the foot, and
They're not little basset hounds,
Remy
by the
like
way.
snuggled in, like in whatever nook and cranny he could find. I can't get two legs stretched out at the same time, only one. I'm just like, what the heck? I feel like I am part of their pack and they just view it as such.
Yes.
And they just
Like this is a you problem
they
if you
need
don't
to
have
have
room.
physical contact with me at all times when we're in the bed, apparently. Husband, who cares?
No, no. He's got his chicken.
He does. He does have the
He's
chicken.
got his chicken to love.
I will say one of the most romantic moments we ever had was I was getting quite annoyed with the dogs, like taking up my entire space.
Hmm.
And I moved to the middle of the bed where they had abandoned to come completely onto my side. And I was like, I'm gonna be the chicken tonight. And it was
I'm the
quite
chicken.
cute.
That's
Oh,
funny. Sorry, I'm
Donna,
gonna change my settings here real quick, so I'm gonna look weird.
no, you're fine.
There we go.
Donna says she has a Zoom sit and sew with friends on Wednesday from noon to 4. So she sews then, and her husband works in the
Oh
evening.
yeah.
My husband used to work nights, and I got a lot done when he did. This is pre-children. Now that
That
won't happen.
yeah.
Now I'm playing Barbies and running taxi around, and
Playing Barbies and doing taxi.
yeah,
I
those
mean,
two.
that sounds pretty fun if you were 8.
I mean, Lily's over the taxi part of it. She doesn't want
She's
to go
over that.
anywhere. She's her father's daughter. She just wants to go home after school.
I feel that. That's me. We were talking earlier about like what we're gonna talk about, and I'm like, oh, I left the house this week.
I
And she's
asked,
like,
how many times did I ask you if you were going to leave the house?
you were about to come drag me out of my
I
house. Guys,
was.
I did not leave my house for 2 weeks
You did not.
on purpose because leaving is annoying. And well, I mean, you guys know, we just lost one of our dogs and everything, and so I think I was in a bit of a funk.
Well, and
But
that's
she's like,
understandable.
and then it became like, I haven't left, so why would I leave? I can order groceries, I can order Target, I can order Amazon, I can basically order anything that I could ever want. And she's like, you have to leave the house.
She was texting me at the same time I am leaving the house today as I was saying I'm going to come get you out of your
She's like,
house.
I'm gonna get. I was like, well, you can come get me. That would be fun.
This is like a 3-hour round trip without spending any time with Chantel to come drag her out of the house. But I
Yeah.
know she needed it. So I was glad you made it out.
Well, I wish you would have came. We could have. Today is the day after Stephanie's birthday.
Yay, I am 40.
Oh,
We were having conversations because, everyone asks, oh, how's 40? And we were talking about it. And like,
I'm having my midlife crisis because she turned 40. Because it became very aware to me that like I
you
had
have a
three
year to
friends
go.
turn 40
Yeah,
in January. Mm.
it's all good.
I don't have that many friends for them to all turn 40 in January.
Well, we were talking about the difference between 30 and 40. And I
Yes.
think as I was driving to get Angela, I realized the difference wasn't that we were better off when we were 30. It was that we were more naive when we were 30. And I think we still at that point believe that the have it all that
Oh, it
has
was
been
going to
sold
happen.
to mothers, that was actually achievable. And that is
And then
not
we learned
necessarily
that
right.
the have it all is not really the have it all. The have
And
it all is
I
really
feel like I did.
appreciating what you have
Yeah.
and recognizing that, you know, you have to choose your priorities. That's what it comes down to.
So I feel like I kind of did have it really good when I was like running my own business and my husband
Yeah,
worked.
explain where you were at 30.
Okay,
Your
so at
little
30, I had Angela, who is now 10, was like
barely had Angela. Yeah.
7, 8 months old. And I was working at a company that I liked. And, my husband
You owned
worked
your house, right?
Yeah, we owned our house. My husband worked second shift at the newspaper. So he would watch her during the day And then at 4:45, he would drop her off at work with me. And then I would go home and I would have her at night. And it worked out really well. And we didn't really have a ton of expenses because she was a baby and I was breastfeeding and we made all of our own baby food. And um,
That is such a you thing.
I did it for both kids. But,
Yeah, that's awesome.
and I just, life was cool. And Quilt Addicts Anonymous was a blog. I was teaching on the weekends, which was getting harder to do with a baby. Um, and I had had a really successful block of the month, but it was like totally for free. And so we had 12,000 people follow along in that first year. And so
Whoa.
in the second year, I got Moda to sponsor it, and I picked a line that was supposed to be in stores in December. And then there was a shipping strike. So when January came, nobody could get their fabric. And they were asking for kits. And I didn't know at all what to do with it. So I partnered with somebody who did. And so that was the very first time I sold any fabric was that January that I was turning 30. And that January, I made probably like 80% of what I was making at my actual job and in profit, which was pretty amazing. And then in February, so like turning 30 was great. It was awesome.
It worked out
And
well.
then and then it's February, so like a month after I turned 30, that's when I got laid off. And I walked into the house and I was eligible for unemployment, which honestly that was a huge difference. I was not eligible for unemployment when the business went down, which is why the last year was so challenging because we really were on our own um for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so I was eligible for unemployment and I walked into the house and told my husband, I'm like, I have developed so much business for other people because that's what I did with marketing. I developed leads
Hmm.
and converted those leads into customers. I'm going to do it for myself. And it was not a straight line up and down. It was certainly not all unicorns and rainbows, but it's
But you were
was
naive
very
enough for it to
rewarding.
be
I
awesome.
was. I was naive enough for it to be awesome. Our life wasn't as expensive as it is now. And we were talking too, when the kids are younger, it's not as big of a deal to live on a smaller budget as it is to very quickly have a drastic change in a negative way in your
Hmm.
income. Because the last year and a half has really all been about how do we keep the kids' lives as normal as possible? How do we keep them in their school? How do we make sure we can still afford
Activities.
lessons that my child has been doing since she was 3 years old and is now 10 and is doing classical ballet? And how do we keep doing those things? And so we have not done much extra at all because we've been trying to keep their lives as normal as possible.
Right.
And now it's not better, or it's a lot better now than and it was and it has been. But Chantal and I were talking, it's like this is like the decision,
Hmm.
like that you can't have it all decision as a mother, that you don't really realize unless you are completely in charge of your own business and schedule, which I was for majority of my motherhood journey. Um, is I can either build Quilt Addicts Anonymous back up to the point where it doesn't matter and I can make my own schedule again. So that's always a possibility. Or I can um continue working at the job I'm working at, which is great. Woman-owned business. She doesn't care when or how I work as long as the work gets done. So I'm completely free to do what I need to do as a mom and be able to work. But I'm not paid the way I would be if I were working for a job
Right.
that would care a lot more about my schedule. And so,
Hmm.
but if I took a job like that, then I would be paying somebody else to pick my kids up from school and run them to dance. So it's like, those are your trade-offs. What are you going to do? Am I going to
You
like
can't you
make a
can't get
run
it
for
all.
myself again? Or am I going to be essentially underemployed for the next 11 years until my kids can drive themselves places? Or am I going to go for the good job and um
Go full employed somewhere.
well, full employed somewhere and then outsource some of the childcare, like the after school stuff where they tell you all the things. I wouldn't get all the things. I would probably barely see my older daughter with all of her being in dance stuff because there's so much dance.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So what do you do? So it's hard because when we were in school, it was very much told that we could have it all. We'd take the loans and you would have it all and it's fine. And now it's very clear that as we've gotten older, that is a bit of a myth. Now,
would I
yeah,
trade kids for anything? Absolutely not.
no.
No.
Well, sometimes I think I'd trade them for like a good lunch, and a massage, and then I'd take them back because nobody's going to want to keep them. But would I really trade them? No.
Oh. Let's see. Let's see what people are saying. Well, thank you for the belated birthday. Let's see.
My husband
John,
tells me I can't
everything we
retire
have is
yet.
something we once wanted, which is true. That is absolutely true. I definitely wanted all of that, but I don't know. I got a lot of, um, what's the word for it? Personal value from being able to provide, not
Yeah,
just for me, but for the families that work for us.
it really
Um,
gave you something.
it gave me a lot of self-worth. And so once that was not there anymore, and then I was all of a sudden being provided for like the first time in my adult life, that was an adjustment and took some getting used to.
That one it was hard for me too.
Yeah.
Um, Although my transition to that was about 10 years ago. And as John says, I retired at what, like 29 or something like that. And I'm like, I hardly retired.
No, you work.
Hardly
You're,
retired.
it's unpaid.
Um, but yeah, being the taxi is
It's
you
work.
know,
It's a second job.
it's a lot.
One time
But we're
I
not all bummers, I swear we're not. We're
no,
just we're we're living
I'm
the whole
reflecting.
she
I
just
was
turned
reflecting on
40.
life. Yes.
Yes.
I feel like this is a good segue into some of the memes you sent me this week.
Oh gosh.
So we talked
Yeah.
last week about how Chantal and I communicate during the week via meme and video and just things we find entertaining that we think the other person will enjoy. And so we've each picked our top 5 that the other has sent us for the week that we are going to share with you guys.
How
So
are we sharing them?
I'm going to share my screen.
Okay. You guys get to sneak peek into how we
Let's do it.
communicate during the week if we're not trying to clean our bathrooms.
Which is true. Although, yes, we definitely occasionally are like, hey,
Hey, I want to talk
yes,
on the phone and clean my
and I need to
bathroom.
clean. Yes. Okay. So you can see my crazy screen. It is very jumbled. We're gonna expand this one.
I feel like
Let's
this
see.
is the perfect one
This
to
is
start
the
with.
one. This is a good one.
She
Yes.
sent that one to me.
I sent this one to her. I sent a lot.
Yeah, she does send a lot, a lot.
A whole lot. If you're
She loves Facebook. I love
if you're
Instagram.
this is how I disassociate throughout the week. And I just need a little bit of downtime where I don't have to think anymore. I will scroll reels. And I've been trying, I limit myself to 1 hour a day on the phone. I have a limit set and I try to keep to it. And that's 1 hour for all the socials, the Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And so this is one. So this is
So I can tell when she's on her phone because
because
I'm
she starts
getting
getting the reels. But if you're
plethora
getting
of
reels
things.
for me and you're getting like things like that, it means I'm thinking of you and I think of you fondly for this.
Oh.
Turn back time to the good old days. If we could turn back time to the
So there really isn't much going on in this one, but
But the
I
point
feel
is that it
yes,
explains exactly what we do.
this is exactly what we do throughout the week to each other. And you also sent me some good ones for turning 40. So I'm gonna get rid of this one because we're done there. And then I put mine in a different window. Where did mine go? Here we go.
We're gonna figure this out. So all of mine
We
are
are.
probably from Instagram.
A lot of them are. So this is the first one up. So we'll start with this one. We've got this one I thought was hilarious. We should all start texting each other like old-timey explorers. Dearest friend, I survived another week. The horrors persist. And I think I texted you back like, but the horrors do
You're like, the
persist.
horrors do persist.
I think like
I forged the river and lost my oxen.
some of the comments are the best though. Um, like my esteemed friends, the hours of rest approaches. May your weekend be bountiful in joy, your slumber uninterrupted, and your worries as distant as a forgotten chore. Enjoy it well. Like I thought some of those comments are hilarious to go with that.
It's like, we're just gonna start doing it that way.
This one I thought was really funny. Yeah, I've seen it before.
Oh my gosh, I love this one.
But it shows how simple men are. Because it talks about the singles ad that they got put in there.
You might
And,
need to read it because we
I'll
have
read it out for the
people that
people
are
who aren't doing it. Single black female seeks male companionship, ethnicity not important. I'm a very good looking girl who loves to play. I love long walks in the woods, riding in your pickup truck, hunting, camping, and fishing trips, cozy winter nets, lying by the fire, candlelight dinners will have me eating out of your hand. When you get home from work, I'll be at the front door wearing only what nature gave me. And then it says to call this number and ask for Daisy. More than 1,500 men called and were talking to the Atlanta Humane Society about an 8-week-old black Labrador retriever. And I've seen this plenty of times before, but it's so funny because men are just so like
it's
simple.
just so awesome. I really hope Daisy got adopted.
I hope so too.
Daisy deserved it.
So this one I totally relate to. So if you haven't been to Aldi, the aisle that has all the random stuff is called the Aldi Aisle of Shame. And there's like whole Facebook groups about it. But it
Yeah.
has all the random stuff that you never thought you wanted, but absolutely need when you walk by
And
it.
it's new every week.
And I have to avoid it really, really badly because I get myself in trouble there. That's where I will blow the budget. But it says the middle aisle of Aldi does insane things to the human psyche. You're there to get grapes and you leave with a bottle opener, a fire pit, and a decommissioned submarine.
Which is very accurate.
But like the first two are things you might actually find in there. Decommissioned submarine, not so much. But I almost sent you another one. Apparently Aldi in the UK has yarn. And I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble if that ever comes.
Oh man.
I'm usually a yarn snob, the way I'm a fabric snob.
But Aldi has good stuff. It might be good.
Yeah. Sometimes you might get like the organic, you
I
can get
mean,
the organic food there.
even the alcohol is like winky now, no shame.
Yeah, that's a good. I don't know if it's still $5, but it used to be a $5 bottle of wine, and it wasn't bad.
Not bad. Not bad.
All right, so here is
Are out of stock items, so
the
it's
40
still pretty
ones.
exciting. 40, your life must be so boring. No, I just picked up my grocery order and there were no substitutions or out of stock items, so it's still pretty exciting. 40, your life.
Yeah,
It's a little accurate.
Feel that because I feel like there's two things that really work with this. Have you seen the videos calling for Instacart to add a feature where you can pick a female shopper?
No.
It's really funny. And then there are equally videos of like men doing Instacart shopping and trying to do substitutions where it's like, I know you want to catch up, but they didn't have it. Would this squishmallow of a ketchup bottle work instead? And
God, I feel that. Like I even put on my grocery order this week that if they didn't have this one product for my sugar-free creamer, that I would like this different sugar-free creamer. So that even if that wasn't available, they should at least get it in their head that I want a sugar-free creamer. The first substitution on my list, full sugar, chocolate mocha, whatever the heck you can put in a creamer.
yeah. So it just like it jokes about how like if you send your husband to the store, you'll get like 3 calls about where is this? Are you sure you
Or
want
you don't get a call and he comes home and he's like, I couldn't find any of it. You're like,
Yeah, so that's the
what?
joke is that the male Instacart shoppers, they can't find anything even though it's like store brand. That's all. And
Just like
so,
the regular husband at home. Like, honey, can
yeah,
you get those paper towels for me? Where are they? They're
yeah.
right in front of you. I don't see them.
Oh, I asked 5 different times for people to bring down my microchip scissors and my thimble, which are in the cabinet that had used to be my great grandmother's thread cabinet. They're right next to the couch. Five
You could
times.
give them an X on a map,
Five
like a
times.
freaking pirate, and they couldn't find the treasure.
I know it was pretty funny. Maybe that's why there's so much lost pirate treasure. And then this was my favorite.
That's how there's
The
so
next
much lost
one.
pirate treasure.
This next
Sorry.
one is my favorite because basically 40 came in with like Aunt Flo coming to town. I was like, this is a great way to kick off this decade. This is a great way. And I had the worst breakout that I've had in like over a year. And so my skin is erect and Aunt Flo is doing her thing. And
You're
that
like, great,
that was
I'm a
that was the
teenager
morning of
again.
my 40th birthday was that. And so this is how
Great.
I very much feel. My 40th is the best year of my life. And then she gets kicked in the face by saying that I'm alive. And I think that that's really funny because I feel like that's a really accurate description.
Like, I'm gonna be great. Oh Lord.
I know, right? All right, back to the random crap I send you. Do you
This
want
is
to
how I feel about the month so far because it's January, it's dark, I haven't left the house. So and she knew this.
Yeah.
So she sends me this.
And chicken videos are always
Always
hilarious.
funny.
I don't care who you are. Chicken videos are really funny.
Regardless if you're her husband and love a good chicken.
Difficult. It's still January. What? You got 11 months left. What? We're 6 months into the year, and it's been such a difficult. It's still January.
Ah,
I love
it
a
is
good
still
chicken video.
January.
I love a good chicken video. So we were commenting that I send a lot of videos and she sends a lot of text, but this one I felt like was perfect and something that you might actually want to incorporate into your own home decor.
Oh
was this.
yes, absolutely. So you'll notice where the toilet paper, extra toilet paper is.
Yes. And the
Personally, I think
great
this is
little
a
letter.
win. The
I think that's
disappointment
awesome.
is that they put an extra roll there.
I
So it's
know.
poop instead of poop.
And we were talking earlier too about how we both really like naughty cross stitch and naughty embroidery. And
Which I'm curious if anybody here cross stitches or does embroidery because yeah, we decided that, like a wall quilt in a bathroom, not the greatest thing, right? Like probably not ideal. But like a little itty bitty cross stitch.
a beautiful cross stitch in beautiful lettering that says please courtesy flush with florals crocheted or cross stitched around it. That's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. So that's got to be on my 2025 bucket list. I got to
or like a little blockbuster video. This is be kind, please rewind, and then has a little flusher on it or something. Like
something funny.
Cheeky art goes to the bathroom.
Absolutely.
I maintain that.
I cannot find if I ever do this, so I'm gonna have to write the pattern for it. I can't find it anywhere. So I'm gonna have to figure out one, how to write a cross stitch pattern, and two, how to execute it. And it's
just a
gonna go
small
in the
ask.
bathroom. I have the perfect spot for it to go right above the toilet though. Right on the shiplap, it'll be perfect.
The shit lap, the ship lap. It's in a bathroom.
It is in the bathroom.
Sorry.
So,
I love this thing.
So Chantel has a
Billy Bass.
Billy Bass. And
I care very much about my Billy Bass. It is like the running joke in the house that you walk into the doctor's house and it immediately starts singing at you because we love some classy art in our house.
Yes. And she does classy art, but she also has in the middle of it Billy
in the
Bass.
middle of it, my Billy Bass that'll decide to just sing at you randomly. And we even have a Christmas Billy Bass we put up.
Carrie, by the way, says that she has 20 cross stitch scenes over the years and hasn't finished a single one.
Me too.
I did finish one, but it was a tiny one that I was learning on. A nutcracker with no hat, and there's supposed to be 3 more nutcrackers and a
Oh,
frame.
well, a single one with no hat sounds pretty good right about now,
I
right?
think that's
pretty good.
It's a start. I can start working on it in October again next year. It'll be fine. All right, so here's Billy Bass. Why are you not playing? There we go.
Play sea shanty.
Welcome, Sea Shanty by Nathan Evans.
Whoever knows how they
Music.
accomplish this.
I have the programming for it.
But put to sea, the name of the ship was a belly of tea. The wind blew up our bow, up down below my bully boys blow. Soon may the waterman
So many.
Where they got them all?
gonna leave and go.
Alexa, play
I
sea shanty.
I thought that was
am
really
number
cool.
one, very, very jealous that they have that many singing fish. Number two, about 7 years ago, I still have this box full of the things required to make my Billy Bass into an Alexa. The programming, the book, I'm trying to figure out how to do it. Like, I have all the stuff to figure out how to make my Billy Bass into an Alexa. But of course, the time I don't have.
I
So
feel like this also needs to be a 2025 project, and we also need to eBay to find more Billy Bass for you.
I feel like I need to make it a project of your like coding league or something like that so that I
There you
end
go.
up with my Billy Bass and the kids learn some really great educational things that they
Angela
need to know.
probably could actually do that for you.
I mean, that would be great. I would love that. I would love if somebody else did it for me.
I cannot code a Lego robot, by the way. I know what I'm doing now.
Oh, wow.
I
Well, what's the difference between a Lego robot and a fish that sings? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Could be a thing.
Sounds like a joke waiting to be answered.
And this one is a preview
Hilarious.
of Chantel and I's adventures in a senior living community someday.
Maybe you guys too, once you come join us.
Chantel and I aspire to, in about 30 years, move into a senior living community and create a really awesome sewing space.
But also create some havoc.
And just drink and sew. That's our goal. And this is going to be us.
Yep.
That almost looks like it could be a sewing cat thing.
I know, it is.
Close the door. Bobby, no, Bobby, oh, Elaine, oh, shit. Bobby, don't fail, Lord have mercy, Bobby. Bobby, don't fail on a bank. God, Bobby, how we gonna get you up? Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's gonna be us.
That is. I feel like I could fall into a bush sometimes bringing my machine. That thing is heavy.
Yours is heavy. Good night, Carrie Quilts.
Good night.
Thank you for joining us from the East Coast. Let's see. Donna's last cross stitch project was a pillow for her best friend that said, "I wish you lived next door." You know what? I feel like you and I need to make those, Chantel.
I know. They need to be cheekier though. Somehow.
I often see things in cross stitch that I think John would appreciate.
I know. So we were talking about my husband. I'm trying to get him into passive aggressive cross stitch because I think it would be like the perfect hobby for him.
He's
like
a surgeon. So he
can stab things.
Yeah.
He knows how to sew. Once told him, "You'll be careful by that pincushion because you don't want to poke yourself." And he's like, "Sweetheart, I work with needles all the time. I just work on them in humans." I was like, "Oh, so we share this hobby." He's like, "Yes, but my medium is skin." It was like, "Okay, I'm done."
A lot better for it.
My medium is skin. I'm like, "All right, you know what? You have that."
I feel like now. So when I learned to quilt, This was in the age of the DVR. And so I had it set to record a few programs that I knew about, like Fonz and Porter. I would record all the time on PBS. And then I had it set to record anything that had the word quilt in it. That way, just in case it was something that I didn't know about, it would get recorded. And every 3 months or so, there would be an episode of Charmed that was about a demon that was making a quilt out of people's skin. And it was like a parody of how to make an American quilt on the title. I can't remember the title of it now. I
Oh my
never
gosh.
watched it, but I feel like I need to now because
Yeah, what were you thinking?
that would be hilarious. That would be a fun reaction video, I feel like.
I feel like that definitely needs to happen.
I feel like you and I need to watch it together.
We need to sit there and watch that, and we need to watch it with John though, and see his lack of reaction as we actually react.
Oh, that could be funny.
He just has normalized so many things that are just not normal.
I suppose this is doctor life.
I just can't with him. Oh man. I wonder how many of these I've chained. It's looking like a lot.
Thank you, AB. That is quite a few.
Yeah, I think I might cut thread and start another chain, or I'm never gonna find the end.
I always feel so satisfied when I have a big chain like that.
It is very satisfying. I'm not gonna lie. I just think that I'm going to like lose the end of it and never find it again. I'm gonna show you my koozie. I feel sleepy today, so it's a slothed.
Yeah.
They all say different things. My favorite one is the one that says shipwrecked. They all say things that are like if you're having a beverage, you know, how you could feel. So I have one that says skunked and one that says lit and has a little light bulb on it. And today we're slothed.
It's all good.
So yeah.
I was out of my high noons and I asked my husband to bring some for my birthday yesterday. And so he brought that.
I got you on these.
And grocery
they're
store
good.
flowers. And I was like, oh, thank you, dear. I did tell him. So he got in big trouble at Christmas because he waited till the last minute to do everything. And he's a UPS driver. So
what do you know?
Like there is no free time when you're a UPS driver
at the holiday
in December. It doesn't exist. And he, for some reason, doesn't like understand online shopping. And so he doesn't do any of that. And so hopefully he's learned his lesson and he has to buy his stuff in October next year. But that didn't happen. And I thought he learned it for my birthday, but he had not learned it then. And I finally let him off the hook. And I was like, look, what I really want is Wicked on Blu-ray. And it comes out in a couple days. So just get me that when it actually comes out. And let's see, we have an actual quilting question. And you talk about adding borders that don't make your quilt wonky. My long armor shamed me today. Oh my God.
no!
More information. So
I hate borders and stuff because they want to be stretchy.
Just make borderless quilts and say F it. That is my way of doing
Option
things.
one.
Almost none of my quilts have borders for this exact reason. I don't like dealing with them. So that's option one, is just don't do it. The other way is we all have small differences in our quarter inch seam. And it comes from a lot of things. It can come from not actually sewing an accurate quarter inch seam, or maybe it's the way you press or the way you cut, or even the thickness of the fabric can make things change a little bit. And so what you technically want to do is not go, like if it says you need a 60-inch wide border, what you want to do is you want to measure your quilt at the top, the middle, and the bottom. And you're going to take those three measurements, add them together and divide by 3. And that's the number you want. So you might end up, depending on how off your border is, maybe 58.5 is where you need to be. And then you're going to ease that in. So that way it's even on both sides. And then you're going to do it again. When that's done, you're going to measure with the border on to figure out what it is, top, medium, bottom, take the average, and that's the length of your border. So That's
So even
what
if
it
your
is.
quilt should be 60, that doesn't mean it is 60 when you get to
Exactly.
that point. And so that's why you want to make sure that you're measuring it a couple
You've
times,
done. Yeah.
because otherwise you end up with more fabric.
To ease
Usually
it.
you end up with more fabric than you needed, which is what makes those kind of,
Wavy borders.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
your grandma shouldn't shame you. Like that's like the equivalent of like giving advice when it's not asked. Like that's not cool. Like I feel like what an appropriate thing to do would be like, would you like some advice on how to make this flatter in the future? That's an okay thing
She
to
is
say.
very good at tact though.
Yeah. Well, I feel like if you're just gonna come out and be like, hey, your border is a hot mess, that's not the way to do it. You don't want to shame people because you don't want to like, I mean, you made a quilt. That's awesome. That's to be celebrated.
And if you have fullness in your border, that is a small issue in the
And
scale
it
of
can be,
everything. You can take a border off,
yeah.
trim it up, and put it back on.
And
Like,
sometimes long armors will say, hey, this is a little bit of fabric eased in here. It's either going to be a little wavy and not perfect when I quilt it, or
mhm.
we can take it off and take some of the extra width out and put it back on, and that might be an extra cost. And that would have been a more tactful way to handle it as well than to
Yeah.
just shame you. You should not be shamed. We all have screwed up a border that's wavy. Every single one of
The
us.
borders are I don't even like doing, this. I hate doing sashing because it's kind of a similar situation where you have to be you can't just sew it on,
No,
unfortunately.
you got to pin it and and that's another thing. You don't want to just like sew it on and hope for the best
You
and
can't
maybe
sew it
pop
on
up
and chop it
and
as
yeah,
much
that
as you
doesn't
want
work.
to,
And
unless you really don't mind working with that fullness and but apparently you're long armored and not working with the fullness.
yeah. Well, and there are ways around it. Like I've one time
Natalie Bonner she has a method for getting her borders to lay out, doesn't she?
I worked with a quilt. I won't say who made it because we've all seen her on here. Um, but it was three different blocks designs that went into the quilt.
Mm-hmm.
They were very different block designs. So not one of them turned out the same size as the other, even though they were all supposed to finish at 12.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a big border on it. And that quilt did one of these. It
Oh
was
no, an hourglass.
when I was done with it, that sucker was square.
You can do it.
You can do it.
You got to know where to nip and where to tuck and where to,
And it
you
takes
know.
more time. Like you might have to pay a little more to
Mm-hmm.
make that happen. But you can make it work. One time I was doing a
That's
quilt.
partially skill on the long armor, and they probably tell you so that you don't send stuff with borders in the future because that is, they don't want to deal with it,
Yeah.
which isn't fair. Get a new long armor. That's
Yes,
what we say.
everyone is saying new long armor. But I want to tell you a story of a quilt that I screwed up royally that was published in a magazine.
Oh
And
no.
I had to quilt it out. I had to quilt it all out. So was making it was all equilateral triangles and it was Tula. And some of them were cut from a strip roll.
I'm like
And
looking behind you to see if I see it.
it is
It's over there somewhere.
this one right here.
Yeah.
Right
Okay.
there.
I picked it out right.
Yeah. And they're all equilateral triangles, and some of them were pieced from a strip roll, and then I just cut the equilateral triangle from it, and then the others were cut as just a plain, not pieced
Mm-hmm.
triangle. And this was back before Free Spirit was purchased by Jaftex, and at that time, the Free Spirit strip rolls were much wider than 2.5 inches. And I did not trim it down to the size it was supposed to be, that 4.5 inches, before I did anything. And so when I started putting everything together, I had all these
Oh,
equilateral triangles that
they were
weren't really
oversized.
4.5 inches tall. They were bigger than that. and putting it next to the ones that were the
Oh
correct.
no.
And I had like a BC cup in the middle of where all these came together. It was very bad. And I quilted it out. There were like over 500 equilateral triangles on there. You cannot tell, except for like 3 of them, that they were funky. And to fix it, I took a polyester batting, and then I layered a wool batting on top of it to give it a little extra loft.
You had extra plush.
Yeah, extra plush in there. And then what I did is I took Natalia Bonner's 4-in-1 quilting tool, and I went up and down along the equilateral triangles, almost like making shark teeth, because then it kind of helped ease everything out.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of going, zigzaggy, the same way you would zigzag like a stretch stitch so it can stretch some.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would do my lines across, and then I went through and quilted crescents inside each one of them. You can't tell. There's like maybe 3 where you can
The
tell that.
batting was definitely the right
It
choice
was
in that
key.
case
It was very
because if you would have chose something like a request loft that was incredibly flat and thin,
you
that
would be able to
fullness
tell.
wouldn't have had anywhere to go.
Yeah. So you
You just tell her to add an extra layer of batting and figure it out.
there are all kinds of tricks. You just need to know how to do them. And you might have to either, as the owner of the quilt, say there's a couple options. You can take it back and you can fix your border and give it back, or you can have them fix your border and take it back, or be okay with it being a little funky and maybe have some pleats in there somewhere, or, you know, pay the extra money for them to take because it takes a lot of extra time to do stuff like that. A lot of extra time. Pay the extra money for them to, make it work.
Mm-hmm.
It's called quilted out.
Well,
So
it depends too on what they're doing. If they're doing an overall panto, it might be hard for them to work with a border that has fullness. Now, if they're doing something that's a little more custom where they're doing a border separately, then they can kind of work out that fullness a little bit better.
absolutely. But a
Um,
good long armor knows how to do it. You just might have to pay more for it. Let's see. Mary Quilter says, unless it's really wavy, I can usually use one of my tricks to get it flat for a customer.
the top is straight. Well, and that might too be the way that they're putting it on the.
It stretches as you add the border, so it ends up too long. That is it could be a tension issue. It could be a fabric content issue.
Sometimes the direction that you've cut those strips makes a big difference. If you cut it
like if it's on a
warp
bias,
or weft.
if it's on a bias, that will stretch a lot on you. But I tell this story sometimes. I taught a beginner quilting class very early on in my career, like before I had children. And there was a woman in there who had a $5,000 sewing machine. There was absolutely nothing wrong with her sewing machine that would have made her be able to quilt. Wrong. But then she showed up with Walmart quilting fabric. And we were making split 9 patches. This was not a hard, or disappearing 9 patches. This was not a hard project. And that fabric did not stay its shape. You would cut it and then it was no longer the size it was supposed to be after that. And I had her spray starch the bejesus out of it in order to get it to be straight. But sometimes that is the case where it's just where you bought your fabric and the fabric is the problem, that it's not staying quite straight.
Yeah, my Christmas quilt that I've never finished and don't want to finish, it was cheap black fabric that is stretching and pulling and doing all the awful things. And now I basically have to take apart what I have put together because it is so wonky. And it has very little to do with what I thought was my poor skill at the time. It was actually my fabric.
One time, speaking of poor fabric, so before I knew any better, I bought a lot of stuff from big box stores. And the very
Which you
first
can find good things, but
again, Robert
there's a lot of things. to find that are
Anything
great.
licensed, you can check, and it's probably Robert Kaufman, or Camelot, and those are both really good brands. And those are really good. Kona Solids you can find there, also really good. But
If it
they're
costs
also,
less than $5 a yard, I would say aim away.
yeah. If it's really stiff, probably not great. If it's not holding its shape, probably not good.
If you can hold it up and see right through it and it's black, Chantel, bad idea.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
And but I made this quilt. It was my first quilt I ever made that was really big for my husband. He's used it like every day for the past 16 years, and it is falling apart now because the white fabric that I purchased at a big box store, and I don't know what I got. I'm sure I just got white whatever. It is literally disintegrated. Everything else, I bought the Illini fabric from a quilt shop, and that is still in really good shape. But that white is literally just disintegrated. So
Oh man. And you can't really do much about that.
no, you can't. So I'm thinking, well, maybe I might need to redo that one at some point, but
That one turns into a pillow and then gets a remake,
something.
a glow up.
I never loved because I was like running out of time at Christmas. And so I did machine binding on it, and that has irritated me every single time I've looked at it for the past 16 years that I did machine binding on it. Not enough to redo it, but
No. I mean, we all have boundaries.
that is my husband's favorite quilt. His absolute favorite quilt. So at some point I'll have to do that.
That'll
And
be
not know. That's the thing. I have to do it in secret somehow.
I'm gonna sneak that away. I'm gonna have to send him away somewhere.
I don't know. I think he pays little attention to what's going on down here, so I think I can make it work.
I think he'll be fine then.
Until
I
it's on
think
the
his goal is to
It'll be
ignore the
obvious.
basement, actually.
I mean, he's down here. He sometimes sleeps down here if I'm snoring too loud. Oh,
I
goodness.
didn't think you snored too bad.
I have had some sinus stuff going on, so it's
I understand. I'm there. I actually have a sick kid upstairs. JD was fine when he came home from school, and he told me his friend Ethan, who he was playing with yesterday at Ethan's house, wasn't on the bus today.
oh no.
And by 8 o'clock, my kid is passed out on the sofa saying that he's freezing cold.
Well, you're gonna have a great weekend.
I know, right? I'm like, John, you can let him sleep in our bed, but please don't let him sleep on my pillow. Like, my pillow is sacred. Like, don't let the kid like put snot on my pillow. Please. I can't be sick again. I've been sick 3 times in the last month.
I know. It's just I feel like as moms we catch all the things.
We do. It's what we do. It is what we do.
I got a string got caught on one of my edges and I didn't realize it. So I
Oh,
think
yeah.
what I'm gonna do is clip it and tie it and hope for the best.
I just leave them like that.
Do you?
Yep. I don't do anything.
Well,
Because
then
once you clip
Chantel
it,
wrap.
if you clip it, now it's a possibility to unravel. The worst that'll happen if you leave it is that some of it might loosen, but by the time you get everything put together,
And quilted, that won't matter.
it won't matter. So you're almost worse off messing with it. You can always tie a little knot in that if you want to make sure, but I leave them when I have that happen.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Compromise.
Less is more in this one case. God, I feel like I'm like sniffing on you guys a lot. Boy.
It is that time of the year.
Oh, I swear it. Hazel, well, and then Hazel told me, I was like, was Ethan in your class? Because Ethan is John David's friend, but he's in Hazel's class.
Yeah.
So I was like, was he in class today? She said, no, actually, there were only about 10 of us of the 24 in class. I was like, ugh.
You're getting it. You're
Yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna stay down here and
so
wash myself with vodka.
I got a haircut last week and my stylist was wearing a mask when I showed up, which she never does. And I was like, uh-oh. And she's like, it's not me, it's my kids. And it was the same influenza strain that I had already had. And I was like, I'm
Okay.
good. It's fine. And,
We
and,
did done
and they
we
had
did done
strep,
that, yeah.
and they had strep, which I don't get strep anymore because I got my tonsils out in my 20s and I haven't.
I had strep twice last month. This
Take your
month.
tonsils out. It sucks as an adult. Just letting you know that. But so then I excuse me, I have the hiccups. And then I went with my boss, who was also sick but didn't want to cancel the meeting because it was a big meeting. And then I caught whatever she had. And so then I'm trying to go through like kid birthday party and making the cake, and I'm cussing at the cake because the buttercream isn't cooperating. And I ended up doing like a more is more situation with the cake. I feel
It
like
turned out pretty cute, regardless.
it was rather cute. Let me find it. This was the fifth birthday cake, but
It was cute.
it was very fun. It was cupcake Gemma all the way. If anyone wants to learn how to bake, that is the YouTube channel to go to.
Yeah, if you like fancy stuff for sure. She goes everywhere though, like
Yeah, like she has a like really simple vanilla buttercream recipe and a really simple vanilla cupcake recipe, which I do all the time. But
I'd be happy to, be able to make any cupcakes without them turning sad, truthfully.
mine didn't were a little sad. I
They were a little sad.
I artfully chose which ones I was sending to school.
They were January-esque.
I think I've heard before that baking soda can go bad and or it can like expire. And I think that mine maybe did because they just didn't rise the way they should have. All of them.
I don't know.
Instead of
I
muffin
am
tops,
not the person to ask
I
about
just had like these flat. It was not very fun.
that. And they were just kind of flat. Oh boy.
It was okay.
They're like, we put extra frosting on these, and
I've actually finished all my stars.
oh, beautiful.
And then there's all these that have these guys on them.
That looks great.
I have all my centers. All done.
So what are we waiting for?
I'm not sure. I know I haven't done any of my
your double pentagons.
I know I have to add stuff to these. For some of them. I have to cut all the stripe fabric.
Yeah, I think that's the double pentagon part where you have the pentagon and they come together.
So I was in the room when this fabric line got unveiled, Spirit Animal by Tula Pink. And
light brag.
I knew for sure I was getting that kit. But when it came out, the stripes, the Tula
the tent stripes,
the true colors, the tent stripes, that came out the next season. And I think Tula knew she was going to do it, and she had the advanced fabric to put in the kit. But when we're all sitting in the room and everyone's like, what's that fabric? What are we supposed to use? And then she was just like, you can use K Facet. And you could just tell that like the line had been like rehearsed. But of course, everyone wants to make it the way Tula
makes it.
And so it was just like, I feel like there was just this handful of people who knew for sure that 10 stripes was coming, and probably before most people were going to finish this all hand done quilt. And obviously it worked out perfect, but
oh yeah,
this is not something that I'm going to cut live on the internet.
What I posted you in this week from Tula, yeah,
her new wide backs.
Her free fall is coming back.
I might need to get some of that for the back.
Yeah, I'm thinking the pink and red one is kind of like perfect for me, so I'm thinking all of them have to get purchased at some point. I love a wide back though. I don't like piecing a back.
Yeah. 3 yards. And it's a good deal. It's a way better deal to purchase a wide back than it is to purchase 9 yards of cotton, especially now it's like what, 40 or $14 a yard.
It can be, yeah.
Fine.
Between
Like,
13 and 14. Yeah.
yeah, no, that's too much money. Whereas you're maybe like $25 for a yard
A yard. Yeah.
for the wide back. It's a better deal.
Mm.
It's something
Wide
like
backs are so
20%
pretty
less.
too.
It's like 20% less, and then you don't have to piece it. So why not buy a wide back? Everyone should buy a wide back.
Buy the wide back, folks.
I don't
Let's
even
see.
sell fabric anymore. It's more advantageous for you to buy the wide back.
I love a good wide back. I kind of hoard them.
Same. Definitely same. I'm gonna go grab
Mhm.
in of this so I can figure out what I'm missing.
All right. Do. I feel like I should sing a song or something, entertain y'all. I'm not going to sing you a song. I'm a terrible singer, especially for a musician. God.
I am also a terrible singer, so you're not alone.
Well, you didn't have to be a singer. You could have been a saxophonist, but no.
Times we're gonna talk about that.
Every time.
Oh, where's my bin?
You almost sang that.
This is bad. I'm gonna turn you around so you can see me search.
There we go.
Fairly positive that I put all of it in the bin and put a bin up here somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Can I find it right now? No, of course not.
No, of course not. Did you label them?
Well, normally you can see, and I know what's what.
I feel like it's up 3. What is in the, you can't see what I'm pointing up. 3, yeah. What's in that one?
That is my collection of butterfly fabric.
Here we go.
It has overflowed out. We can actually share how much knock something over. There is tulip fabric in this.
Okay. Well,
This
there you go.
So much.
So much butterfly. Okay, well, I
This
did
is
see
all
tulas, so
butterfly
you
fabric.
can't you
It's
can't
all
hate me
butterfly
there.
And not only butterfly fabric, but also the coordinate to go with it. Because my thought was you would have the moth or the butterfly as the jar.
I
and then
love that
it
one. That's
would be the coordinate. And so I thought you would like this. This is Tamara Kate.
yeah, I have a whole bunch of that. Not a whole bunch, but I have some of that.
We have a My Little Pony quilt that I've never finished, but could be
Ooh.
finished within like 2 hours if I actually did finish it.
You know, maybe you should pull that out one day and finish it on air.
I think my niece would love it. I think my kids are over it.
I'm not.
It's big
I
enough for
love
you.
My Little Pony.
It's got a big panel in the center. And then it's all My Little Pony fabric with equilateral. Oh, I dropped all my stars on the floor. Equilateral triangles all over the place.
We're a mess. It's fine.
Yes.
Oh,
What did I do?
I did something this week and my neck hurts and I didn't
Did
do
you sleep
anything.
wrong? Is that what you did?
Probably picked something up weird. No, I don't know, but I'm like noticing it as I'm sewing that like, oh, Twyla's asking what kind of rotary blades do we use?
I'm Olfa all the way. I do the 45 millimeter.
Do
Although
you do the endurance blade?
No.
I've done those and I really like them, but then I started using cheap ones too. See, Mary Quilter loves My Little Pony. See?
But seriously, I think you would probably like this My Little Pony quilt. Maybe you'll have to
Right.
get it.
I'll take the My Little Pony quilt.
It's big because we were making it when my
It could be
daughter
for My Little Horse. It doesn't matter.
had a double bed and it had quite the drop on it. And Yeah. She still likes My Little Pony though. She
Oh
pretends
yeah,
she
but they
does
wouldn't
it
admit it.
because she thinks it's not cool.
You
But
just tell her that her Aunt Chantal still thinks that My Little Pony is like,
the bomb.
I do. I love it.
It's all good.
I don't care what anybody says. I love My Little Pony.
Seriously.
But I'm old enough to not care.
Well, I found it. I put it in a different spot.
Oh. Gosh, how many of these do I have to make?
I created an English paper piecing part of my shelf. Is what I did. Oh, I do have something more that I can put together without having to cut anything.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, I also have to cut all of these.
Oh. That
So
fabric's
really?
not easy to find.
Yeah, I had to search for that. I have more than I think because I have all of my 10 stripes,
Oh,
all of
yeah.
my lights, and I have to do all of my solids,
Oh, okay.
which were another thing. Tula solids were not out yet when this started.
Yeah, because her true colors
I
were
had the
still
whole
her.
thing.
Yeah.
So it's fine. It's not a big deal. But
How many years ago did that come out?
see if it says on the
Like
center.
10.
Well, 2017.
Was that 8?
Say this is a 10-year quilt.
Hey.
That's reasonable, right?
Yeah,
10 years,
absolutely.
completely hand piece on the top. This sounds very reasonable to me.
Gosh, I am a sleepy, sleepy duck today.
That's all
I'm
good.
like really nervous about JD being sick, and then Hazel telling me that like more than half her classroom was out today. Ugh,
Yeah, you're in for it.
I am.
It's gonna be down. You're gonna be down bad.
Ugh,
Quote our Taylor Swift.
wow, we're going down.
Yes.
Oh, I don't want to. I'm like,
Well,
no.
you have a choice. I think it's gonna
Well,
happen.
and he's lovey on me, and so I'm like, no, now I'm gonna be
This
sick.
is how I got the flu and thought I was gonna end up in the ER. It's is exactly that.
Ugh. Yeah. Well,
'Cause
and
you
Hazel's,
gotta take care of them.
do you mind watching, keeping care of everybody real quick while I run upstairs and make sure
Of
that
course.
he's not like passed out on the sofa? Because I feel like I can keep you on.
No, you're fine.
I'm go in here real quick and stop the video and check on the kid
Now
because,
has 3 children
and a
and
husband child.
my husband does not like it when I call him the husband child. As accurate as it may be sometimes. Although he is quite helpful when he wants to be. I feel like that's men in general, right? Elderberry. I have heard that that is quite good at a nice little home remedy. I feel like I've had all the germs this winter, like every single germ. Shakes it every day and rarely gets sick when the kids do. That's what I need. I catch everything that they have. Absolutely everything. The last time we had the flu, it was like one down every day. Like my daughter, my youngest first, and then I caught it from her, and then my oldest caught it from us. And then I kicked my husband out and sent him to a hotel with some rewards points so that he wouldn't get it, could keep working. Meanwhile, I'm at home, like literally thinking I was gonna have to go to the ER with the 2 kids in tow. The kids put themselves to bed that night. And I told my husband, I was like, just so you know, you're getting my dream vacation of having absolutely no responsibilities when you come home from work at night. That would be awesome. See you asleep?
They are no longer above us, which actually is promising, but I'm pretty
Might be in
sure
bed.
that they are probably like all the kids are probably in my bed. Oh. I've
Oh,
taken to sleeping downstairs on filming nights just because
you have a
it's
very comfy sectional though.
my sectional
I have
is
slept on that sectional. It's
fantastic for sleeping on. And the dog stays down here, the one dog out of 3. And he's my favorite because I'm his favorite. And so, yeah, standards are low apparently. And but he always stays down here for me. And we just cuddle and go to bed together.
I understand.
And well, I try to go to bed while Stephanie sends me a whole bunch of things from the internet.
You might do
Because
that
when,
nights too.
yeah, when when we get off of this, you know, she can't go to bed right away. Like she's still a little wired for a half hour.
Well, I'm wired, and also like the download has to like go through, so I have to sit here until that's done.
And
And
so she starts sending me things, which is funny because as soon as I'm done, I'm like on the sofa passed out, like passing out.
oh,
And then, you know, 10 videos come through.
I only send you the highlights.
It's only the best stuff. For every video you send, you must see at least 5 videos.
Way more than that. Way more.
I don't know how you do that. How do you do that?
I very judiciously am like, I don't care about this. We're gonna move on to the next thing. If I'm not interested, I am not watching the whole thing.
So you TikTok your Facebook videos.
Basically, yes. I am the person who sees the TikToks 2 days later on the reels.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that because I'm the person that sees them a month later in Instagram. Totally fine with that.
That is totally me. I will say, so I was thinking tonight that maybe my talents as a marketer might be better served if I shared my knowledge with small businesses via YouTube, like a YouTube channel or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because I spent today, I was hanging out with the person who does the marketing at my local bookstore / coffee shop.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and this happens all the time. You go to a small business and you'll have a TV station or a radio station or a newspaper come in and be like, hey, we had these packages and it's great because you're going to get in front of 50,000 people or 250,000 people or whatever. And
Right.
the chances that all 250,000 of those people are going to be your customers are like nothing.
Yeah.
And so it really doesn't matter what your audience size is. It matters that you get the right audience. And you can do it with like Meta or even just completely free stuff so much less expensive than what you're going to be charged. And you probably can do it better because as a small business owner, you are invested in your own business. And once you learn to demystify it
Mm-hmm.
and it not scary,
Mm-hmm.
learn how to read what the data is telling you, that's when you can make really good decisions that are not based on like your gut. They're based on actual data.
Right.
So, like, for example, right now, the business that I work for, they help seniors when they need some help at home or it's time to move to assisted
Like
living.
home health and things like that.
Home help or home health care or helping them find the assisted living community that's right for their lifestyle, budget, and care needs. And then they get paid by referral, so it's totally free for the person to use. And we know that people are more likely to need this after they've been in some sort of a hospital or doctor situation where
Right.
someone is telling them, hey, maybe it's time to start thinking about ABC.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, or they've had some sort of event happen and now they can't ignore it anymore.
Which that's your market of people, essentially.
Yeah. So we started this location-based campaign where we were targeting different doctor's offices and hospitals, and it was age-based as well because we don't want the 25-year-old who had too rough of a weekend and ended up in the ER. We want the
Right.
45-year-old who took mom for the third time and now, is thinking, okay, maybe
Mom
it's
needs more
time to
help.
do something about this. So we had that running through the radio station was placing ads, and then I was doing it with Meta through
Mhm.
Facebook. And we were targeting the exact same place. We had the exact same parameters on there. And I was beating the heck out of them in every single category. But they were charging a minimum of $1,100 a month to do this. And I was doing it for $5 a post for getting pretty much the exact same results.
It
And
makes total sense then. Yeah.
and then the other thing that people don't always realize is these companies will come in and be like, "Oh, we got you this many views and this many link clicks." And if you don't know how to read what happened after they clicked and what they did on your website, then you're totally in the dark as to whether or not that was even beneficial for you. So, like every single link that they sent to us, they sent a lot of people to us, but the engagement rate was 0 seconds, which means whoever they sent to us is just trash traffic. And
Right.
but if you don't know how to read that, you just see the one end and have someone telling you, "Oh, we're sending you so many links," and you don't know how to tell that this is still a waste of money.
You understand marketing for sure. That's
But
definitely a direction that you could consider, and you would still be able to be with the kids. I would prefer you're making quilt videos and quilts and all of that stuff, and then I get to be the benefit of the fun friend that gets to do it too.
I know. But I think that everybody, I feel like so many people think about doing their own thing and they just don't know how to reach
Oh,
people.
absolutely. The marketing thing is mesmerizing. You know a lot of things that feel just overwhelming for somebody to figure out on their own.
And some
I
of
mean,
it
you
is like,
demystified quilting for a lot of people.
this is true.
You could demystify marketing.
Like my daughter has been doing her YouTube videos and I taught her how to film using Loom, which is a very low priced
Hmm.
free share. And then she'd take the transcript, how to get it in the first place of her video, and put it into ChatGPT and have ChatGPT spit out her YouTube title and description and hashtags. And that kid has been getting anywhere between 300 and 500 views on her videos after getting zero traction beforehand because she's using things that anybody can absolutely do. But then she put out some really short videos and those got nothing. And I was like, "Hey, it looks like the algorithm really likes it when you do like the 10 to 15-minute videos. That's what you need to do."
Yeah.
And but if I can teach a 10-year-old to do this,
Then you might have
surely
hope teaching
adults,
me.
surely adults can manage it too. That's your problem. I can't seem to grow my YouTube. I have 12,000 on TikTok and 53 on YouTube. Use ChatGPT. So what I do is I take the MP4, and this is what I do on my videos too. I used to write all the copy myself when I had a big team because I had the time to write it all myself, and I'm a good copywriter because that's my background. But you don't always have the time or the skill to be able to pack it with keywords. And that's what ultimately gets people interested is the keywords and now also using emojis in a good way. And so Riverside transcription is a free service. It doesn't work 100% of the time. There will be days when I'll get on there and I'll try to transcribe a video and there just must be too much traffic going through it that time and it won't work. So try the next day. And it usually will work then. But you can transcribe your video for free and then you can plug it into ChatGPT and you can say, write me a YouTube video description and title using the tone of this transcript, writing in the speaker's tone, and it'll pump it out and you're good to go. And then you can turn that into an email and you can ask it for hashtags to put in your video. And literally, this kid was getting like 30 views from like friends and family, and overnight ended up with like 500 views on a random Roblox video that she put on there. And it's a huge difference. Huge, huge difference.
Hmm. You're giving me hope of having a YouTube future.
Yes. It totally is possible.
YouTube is it is a very mystifying kind of area though. It's kind of hard to break into in that you got to kind of know how to do it. I mean, you can just post things and get lucky, but there really is a method to the madness.
Well, and we always kind of figured we had two types of videos, and we were fine with not getting a lot of views on them because our main goal when we were running the business was to sell the product that was in the video. And that's not
Right.
necessarily my goal now. Now I want to get more views because YouTube ads is where the majority of the money is coming from now. Whereas before it was like it paid for most
Revenue from the
after
fabric.
shipping bill. It wasn't like a make or break situation. And so, but once a month we would always do what we called a listicle. And that was something where we would come up with 10 blah blah blah, 10 ways to do this, 13 reasons, things I do that the quilt police hate.
I
10
love
things,
numbers.
10 things I wish I knew when I started sewing. Things like that. People really enjoy that. And it's what really will get it now. Catchy thumbnail, putting yourself in the thumbnail so you have some brand recognition. I use Fotor, Fotor, to do all my thumbnails. It is a Chinese company, so my bank for a while did not want to pay them because apparently there had been a lot of fraud out of China. And I had to call them and
Whoops.
be like, hey, this is a recurring
This
subscription
is,
that I've had for
yeah.
years. It's fine. Please pay them their $7.99 a month. I can do my graphic design. And they have a ton of templates on there. That's what we use for do our thumbnails for this
Yeah.
video. And you still do kind of have to have an eye for graphic design, in order to still make it look nice. Because
Hmm.
what they have there for your template isn't necessarily going to work for you.
It's not an end all
No.
solution. It's just a tool to get to the solution.
But if you can come up with like something that looks decent, you can just kind of swap things out here and there, and that makes life a little easier. But and I think too, even if you aren't getting traction with shorts, I think you have to do shorts regularly, and that's what I have not been doing lately. Well, I've been doing a lot on YouTube lately, but they've extended their shorts duration to 3 minutes, which
Okay.
is how you get the most bang for your buck out of any sort of content that you create. You're going to create your long form content on how to do something, and then you're going to split it up into as many 90-second or less segments as you can get. And that's where all your social media content comes from. And then your shorts can come from that too on YouTube.
You could honestly just have multiple videos on information about this just
Yeah,
alone.
for sure. For sure. And it just makes life so much easier. Like I was having a conversation, one of my coworkers is like a multi-level marketing for some like patch thing that has health benefits. And she doesn't want to be on video. She doesn't want to write anything. And I said, just take the voice memo on your phone, record yourself telling your story about it, and then upload that to get a transcription and put that into ChatGPT and say, give me 20 status updates using this transcription for interest or
Hmm.
for content. And you will get tons, just tons. And it can sound like you. It doesn't have to sound like ChatGPT and AI. And over time,
Yeah,
you
you
tweak
can
it.
tell it what kind of tone, like in a casual tone, in a
Yeah.
personal tone, in a professional, sophisticated tone.
Or you can be like, this sounds too cheesy, take that out. Um, I've even used it to describe quilts. Like I was doing some work for a brand and there was an inspiration quilt. And I was like, this fabric is black and white and it has this big star and I put whatever the pattern star name was. And it put out something that made it sound like whoever wrote it had seen the quilt. And I just described the quilt was all. And it's crazy. Crazy, crazy.
How does that even work?
It's crazy
Yes, the host delivery, definitely.
for sure. And doesn't repeat themselves. That's something you can fix in editing. When I shoot a video, usually the content that I have to work with is 2
Mhm.
to 3 times the length of what it ends up being.
Which is part of the reason that setting out videos is,
It takes time.
difficult. Yeah,
It takes time.
because you have to have the time.
Yeah.
I got like 70 of these things
Oh
all
my gosh.
done.
Sashing on down.
Yeah, look at that's part of them. There's more. Ah,
It's a huge pile.
a
No wonder you
huge
had to
pile.
cut yourself off in the middle of it.
Yeah. I ended up cutting myself off twice.
Oh, thank you, AB. That's wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, I definitely still want to do quilting tutorials. This week I didn't do anything on Monday because I felt kind of icky still. And
Mhm.
I was totally worn out from like kid birthday party. And then felt like I was paying for it the rest of the week by trying to get
Oh
it.
yeah.
So I'm still maybe tomorrow night I'll be filming.
Maybe. That's
I
the
will have
struggle for you. It's like me trying to leave the house.
it's so right now I'm not super excited about being on camera because I'm literally the worst breakout I've had in years. But I have literally everything ready to go to film my next tutorial.
What's
And
it about?
it's the pattern I've been putting off for Northcott that they're probably really mad at me about right now. And
No.
get it done. I really need to get it done. But um yeah. And it won't take long. It'll take me like an hour and 45 minutes maybe to do it. And then I can move on and get it done. But
Yeah. I did see a really funny video or a thing this week that's like, I'm really glad that I turned 40 so that I could feel like a 13-year-old boy getting a mustache and a breakout in the same week.
it's so true. I need to go back into laser hair removal is what I need to do.
I need to find that thing that said that
I
because
literally shaved my mustache today.
oh my gosh. Yeah. It was like that might be too hard on her. I'm gonna let that one pass, but
Oh,
I'm
it's so
pretty sure
true.
I have it in my Instagram.
It's absolutely true.
Oh
No,
my God.
I'm Italian. I got some hair. And I actually went through laser hair removal a couple years ago. And apparently there's different guns when you go to a professional place. There's different guns they can use based on how fair your skin is. And I started off with a nice Italian tan, and then over like the years' time got light enough to where they were able to switch to a different gun. And the second gun worked really well. But then I just like didn't get something rescheduled and then never went back. And so I need to go back because I get like, I mean, it's everywhere. Like if you would grow a beard, like it's there. And it's not obvious.
No.
Like it's not like I look like a bearded lady because I don't.
Because
But
then we would have an income other ways.
we would. Maybe
It's just right into the circus.
I could have a really interesting OnlyFans if I was the bearded lady. But um but yeah,
But yeah,
like all here I got down to here. It's a lot. And
that's funny.
yeah.
I get like the one hair. I get, the one, but it's like I'm really glad I turned 40 so that I could feel like a 13-year-old boy getting a breakout and a mustache in the same week. It was like, oh
What I
yes.
will say, the very first thing to go with laser hair was those little chin hairs that would pop out that would be super dark and coarse
Yeah.
and would just be like an inch and a half overnight.
This one,
You're
yeah.
like, and you just can't do anything but feel it. Like those are all
Yep.
gone. Yeah.
Those are all gone.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. But
And it used to be way worse.
the
Like
fuzz stash is still there.
if I got to 3 weeks between waxes, you could totally tell it was like full on stash, and it's not that way anymore. It's just like shadowing.
It's a
And
different stashing with Stephanie.
yeah, it is definitely. I do have a mustache though, but it's
It's
definitely stashing
mustaching with
Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Mustache. With the millennials that used to draw on the mustache.
I know, on their finger. We can
Yeah.
do it.
Well, I could totally do it. That's me.
Mustaching with Stephanie.
But yeah,
I like it.
but this is why I just think this is hilarious and have to say.
We should just be inappropriate the whole time.
I know.
Like,
Mary Quilter also.
I don't know why we try to
Acne
keep
shit
it together. We don't keep it together for each other.
No, we
ever.
don't. So, okay, acne, serious story. I've struggled with it like forever.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, anytime I wasn't on hormone birth control, I had acne. And
Mhm.
I found out, so I went on a medicine for it, and I wasn't supposed to have dairy when I was on the medication. And I found out that the medication, while it's helpful, it'll help me stop getting the ones that come around my cycle.
Yeah.
It really was the dairy that was the problem. And I, like an idiot, ate a big ass thing of cottage cheese last week, and I am paying for that.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
No.
paying so bad for that.
I've
So
heard that
I
it could
have
be dairy.
I have no less than like a dozen breakouts all over my face right now. And it's like stupid cottage cheese, I guarantee you.
Oh, I love cottage cheese.
I mean, it was good.
It just made me think of a midnight sandwich, and I could really go for a midnight sandwich.
Yeah, and I miss those midnight sandwiches.
Midnight sandwiches were good.
You guys need to come on the cruise with me just so you can have the midnight.
Absolutely. So you can experience midnight sandwich
So
and so
there's like
much more.
There's like a little snack bar in the evening. You can get food almost any time of the day.
I'm
when
still
you're on the
here.
cruise.
I'm just I'm going to my bar.
But there's like a little dessert and sandwich bar every night, and they make the bread fresh on the ship. And so I don't know if you've ever had fresh sandwich bread. I used to make it all the time during the pandemic. Excuse me. But it doesn't stick to your teeth the way like white bread from the store does. And like that's just the huge difference right there is that. And
It was funny because she's like,
it's so
it's not
good.
sticking to me. And I'm like, oh my God, it's not sticking to me.
Not. It's so good. And it was just a simple like turkey and mayo. Like it wasn't anything fancy at all, but it was just a really good sandwich.
I will say going on a cruise and things like that seems, super luxurious to do just quilting, but you don't do just quilting. Like you
No,
experience a whole vacation and then your extra time you get to experience like the quilting in the class, the time that you would be spending wandering around the ship. I mean, it was one of the coolest experiences of my life.
we're going on a 7-day cruise to Alaska in August. No, July.
July.
And there's still spots available if you guys want to come. And this is like
And
the
you should, because I mean it's
only
vacation
thing I
and
do
fun.
in person too. So if you want to ever meet me in person, you're gonna have to come on one of these cruises because I've got kids and I can't get away from them ever.
I barely get to meet her.
I know. And yeah, when I hang out with Chantel, my children are usually in tow. And you are. It's just that
Yes.
but so it's like 18 hours of sewing. And then the rest you have time to enjoy yourself. We eat dinner together, but you don't have to. You can go do your own thing if you want.
Like bring your husband, bring a friend or whatever, and they just do their own thing while you're doing your sewing thing.
There's so many activities on the ship.
There's so much to do.
Like you could just sit by the pool and drink or sunbathe or whatever. Or
we sat there and hand sewed and enjoyed. That was one of my favorite days.
That was an awesome day.
It was so good.
But
that's a lot of sewing time you get.
It is. And
especially one-on-one.
We should definitely be able to get through the project if you want to. Not everybody will.
And that's the thing. Like, you don't have to get through the project. You could just honestly enjoy the social hour.
I mean, honestly, the price I don't remember exactly what the price of it is, but it's not that different than having like a 1 day excursion on shore of
For
what
the
that
quilting.
for the quilting. But
Mhm.
it's 7 days hanging out with us and sewing in the sewing room.
I'm jealous. I want to go, but I don't get to go on this one. Because if it were in June, I would know when the vacation was, but in July, we don't know where our vacation is. Oh yeah,
So
I
very
understand.
quilter. I totally understand that. There is I don't
Depending on age and
I don't know
needs.
how much needs we're talking here, but there is a camp at sea, which my kids will be going to, and it's staffed by people with actual education degrees who plan activities that are age appropriate for the kids, and there's different age groups. So that way kids are grouped appropriately. And you can drop them off for during the day.
In a
There's a couple,
scenario like mine, it would make a lot of sense to just my kids would think that was the coolest thing ever.
yeah. Well, Ray and John keep saying that even my little one who is always with mommy, this is going to be my child who goes to college 2 miles down the road because she will not want to leave me.
It's okay,
Um,
that college is the greatest.
it's a good college. We're biased, but
Maybe
anyway.
a little.
But they were they're like, even she will want to go and go do the thing. And I was like, that would be a miracle.
Yeah, sure.
That and eating anything other than chicken tenders.
They have those though.
They do. She's so weird and picky. Like I made her pizza yesterday that she would not eat it because it wasn't Costco pizza. And I'm like, come but it's pizza.
Pizza is pizza is pizza, kid. It's
She's going
like,
to starve.
nothing says
And
adventurous
I am
eater.
not bringing Kirkland chicken nuggets with the
I
trip. It's
told
not
John
gonna
the other
happen.
day, I was like, my kid is like such a limited eater, but yet they're the kid that would eat a chicken nugget at a Mexican food restaurant. Like nothing says adventurous eater like eating a chicken nugget at a Chinese restaurant.
Angel wants to try escargot and all manner of seafood.
Good.
We'll see if she does,
I'll take
actually.
Angela out to eat. We have a great seafood restaurant here in town.
Yeah. I don't know how to cook it because I don't eat it. So I'm
Well,
just
I don't know
never
how to cook anything, so it's fine.
of it. I'm worried that like I'll get some sort of foodborne illness if I try. Like things like shrimp scare me.
Well, I mean, Atlantis more said it best. Like, isn't it ironic? Like, you would finally try like seafood and then get sick.
So I think I have to when we're on the excursion in Juneau
Mhm.
because part of it is a salmon bake.
Oh,
And
salmon's
I
pretty
have to
low
eat it.
key.
I'm gonna have to eat it there.
It's cooked, you got that going for you.
Yeah, I could never do sushi.
Oh,
I think
that's the way to do
texturally
it.
I have a problem.
I was really freaked out by what sushi was, and then I got over it and I'm addicted. I love it.
See, I don't think I could ever eat it if I wasn't like on a coast.
There is something about eating it in a city
I want,
versus eating it like in the middle of Peoria.
yeah, I want the illusion that maybe it was caught that day or the day before.
Oh yeah, you can smell the difference.
Like it maybe
You
wasn't,
don't want it from Hy-Vee.
yeah, gas station sushi.
Oh yeah,
Lady.
that's my rock band name.
Oh my gosh.
Gas station sushi. We could have a rock band. There we go.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
that's too bad, but
It's hard. The Chantel and I've talked a lot about the things that you don't realize that you're giving up when you become a mom.
oh
Because
yeah,
you're gonna put your kids first. And you don't know what you don't know until you're in there.
absolute. Ooh, sushi, Mary.
I've
Disappointed.
never had it. I've never had a desire to have it.
I had enough people push me into eating it enough times that it actually became like a thing for me. Oh, I could use some sushi right now or midnight sandwiches. Both sound great.
I need to come and we need to make bread someday.
Yeah, I don't know how to make bread.
It takes 15 minutes over the course of 2.5 hours.
That sounds
basically.
like every task I do ever. It takes 15 minutes over the course of 2.5
You'll be perfect.
hours.
You'll be perfect. You're ready.
There's
You're
not
all
a
set.
single thing I do that isn't a 15-minute over 2.5 hours. Maybe I'm made for making bread.
So my mother-in-law has they took a sourdough class. She has a
Mhm.
bread and she has 2 sourdough starters. They have names. Bonnie and Clyde. And she's been making all this kind of bread. And I was talking to her on the phone. She's like, I gotta go stretch my sourdough. And I'm like, I'm like, oh, are you like having it ferment overnight so that you can make bread in the morning? She's like, yeah. And we're like, we're bonding over our bread making now.
Aw.
It was cute. I don't think anybody takes as much interest in her bread as I do. So we've been talking all about it.
Well, you have something then.
We do.
That's good.
It's all good. But
That's hilarious too, though.
however, she made cookies out of it, and they taste like there's very little, if any, sugar in this.
Oh.
So they're very fluffy because of the yeast that has built up or fermentation or whatever. But even Lily, she like took one bite and asked for water immediately afterwards.
Oh no.
And I'm like, I'm so glad you didn't do that in front of Graham. It made her feel bad.
Oh no. That's really funny though.
Mary, I think that would be my problem too. I don't think I could deal with the texture of it.
Oh, see, if you have good sushi, it lacks texture, which is the brilliant thing. It has just this soft. You have to have really good sushi though.
So we're either not on a coast or not at an expensive enough restaurant.
Yeah. You have to have a guide. In the
Yes.
same way you were trying to tell me about how to, grow grass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not that I've kind of successfully done it
I
sometimes.
mean, I can't make my own sushi. Like I can't roll a roll, but I know my way around some sushi. You know, you clearly have an idea of what to do with my grass, and I have no idea.
I did tell you to oversee. You're like, yeah, I think they're doing that. And I'm like, good deal. Your partners know what they're doing.
Yeah, all I know is that we have another service coming up.
That's good.
I will end up with grass eventually. We put in a pool last year, and so it
Dirt
basically
yard.
took out our entire yard to put in this pool, and then we had to grow our entire yard back at the very end.
That's not fun.
I worry for your posture, the way that you like do it this way.
Oh, I don't know. That doesn't bug me.
See, I'm a work like this person.
Are you?
Yeah.
Although I was like, I think it was from the crochet. I had done more crocheting than I should have, and I forgot my place on Saturday when I was doing it out and about because I packed my go bag. I felt very proud of it. But I could feel it. I could feel it wasn't going quite well. And I did it anyway. And then when I went to decorate the cake or the cupcakes, like my grip strength was gone in that hand. And I was like,
Oh.
and so I'm like, this is not good. This is my dominant hand. I needed to do all the things. And I'm like, my husband's just standing there helplessly trying to.
Yeah, like, what do
Like,
I?
well, what am I supposed to frost him? I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, and he's like, well, I don't know, just don't do cupcakes anymore. And that was not the right answer.
Wrong answer,
I was
sweetheart.
like, honey, it needs to be like, you really enjoy doing this and you like doing it with the kids. So maybe you should go back to physical therapy.
Gentle parent me, sweetheart.
That was the right answer. You did the wrong answer.
Oh my God.
But
Mary says she lives in Southern Illinois.
Yeah, I would not ever eat sushi in Southern Illinois.
Well, it depends on where you're at in Southern Illinois, I guess. But yeah,
I need to
probably
be
not.
able to see the ocean if I'm even going to consider something like that.
That's fair. That really is fair.
I would eat a perch or a bass if I had to in the Midwest because I know that probably came in a local lake or stream.
Right? A carp.
I'm good with that.
You know that carp came from Peoria. The Illinois River is just packed with them.
But yeah, no.
To the point where you can't ride a boat on the Illinois River without getting basically slapped by a bass or a carp coming out of the water.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they do like harpoon fishing and things like that in the water out here because there's so many carp that they flop out of the water and you can like shoot them.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's very redneck and I love it. I'm here for that.
Of course you are.
It's
Chantel,
hilarious to watch the videos.
I bet it is.
I don't want to necessarily, well, I kind of do want to do it. You get like the full like helmet and everything. Feels very barbaric. I feel like maybe I could do that. And then I would probably end up crying, but whatever. I feel like I could do it.
I don't think I could like kill another thing.
It's a fish though. I mean, I grew up around fishing though. A lot of fishing.
Well, so did I. And I hated going. I would go with my grandpa once a year just to like be a good granddaughter. But I hated it. I felt so bad for the fish.
But we eat the fish. See, the fish doesn't
I
bother me.
didn't eat the fish. I would eat the minimal amount. My mom said I would have to eat 2 fish to make my grandpa happy.
For
And
whatever reason, if it's a fish, it
my
doesn't
dog.
bother me. But the idea of killing a chicken
That's
just
all
like
good.
breaks my heart.
Yeah, I couldn't. If I ever raised chickens, I think that would be the end of me eating chicken.
Sudana says she likes her fish fried or battered and nothing raw. Well, it depends on the kind of fish too. Like a tuna cooked is just a sad thing. Although I do really like canned tuna, I'm not gonna lie. But then again, I grew up with zero palate. I am what happens when a really great trash panda, otherwise known as a raccoon, does really good things and gets to become a human one day. That's me. I did that. I'm a very blessed raccoon that became a human.
I feel like
I
a
eat
really
anything.
funny like show would be you and I in a cooking class together.
Oh God.
It has nailed it possibilities, I feel
Well,
like.
that's the thing. Like
With us
my
being on
family
a
was like,
team.
we should send her to that show where the nailed it thing. They're like, Mom could probably win that. I think she's creative enough, but she can't cook.
This is true.
Yeah, crappie, trout. Mm.
Yeah, I've had plenty of bluegill and crappie. That is stocked up in the lake that my grandparents would always fish in.
I'm getting really
Literally,
tired,
I would
dude.
pick out the 2 tiniest
Mhm.
pieces that were in there, and I would layer them with like the mayonnaise tartar sauce. Like just cut, like I didn't want to see the inside.
I
Like
don't, yeah.
that I couldn't do it. Like the little gray thing going through the meat, like
Yeah, I mean, you don't see that in tuna, to be fair.
I couldn't do it.
Ugh, that's gross.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel that way about other animals. Not that I don't think I could eat like lamb.
Oh,
I don't feel bad about that. I think.
I think so too.
Deer.
That's because we're thinking of our Disney animals.
Or
I'm like, why? They're cleaning my house. I can't eat them.
I could totally see myself someday when I'm older having a flock of chickens.
Oh yeah, no, you're gonna have that. I mean, that's your ongoing thing with your husband that he's gonna retaliate in some way when you're upset one day and you're gonna get a whole bunch of chickens.
Yep, this is gonna happen. Someday when I don't have other children to take care of. When the
Or
children
when
are out
your
of the
husband
house,
upsets you enough that you
I'm
just
gonna go get a big chicken coop and a bunch of chickens. Uh, yeah, Stephanie 2.0 is sure she's up to
we're
tonight.
gonna have her on soon
Yeah, we need
because
to talk about garment
we
sewing.
need to talk about garment sewing. And for me, I want to know how to translate all this fabric into clothing, how to find patterns that are appropriate for quilting fabric.
It's gonna be a lot of kids' clothing.
I want my clothing. I'm finally ready to have banana clothing. I have a lot of banana fabric and I'd like to have banana clothing. Nobody else in the world wants that, but I do.
It's gonna depend on what you're making. The tunic Bible,
Mhm.
That works really well with quilting fabric.
Hmm.
We did a class at the shop once on that.
I think I have that actually.
I learned how to move a bust dart in that class. I don't know that I could do it
Yeah,
again.
I was digging through my patterns. I have a whole bunch of vintage patterns, and I was digging through them today because I was like, oh, I just want to make something else. I want to make not a quilt,
Yeah.
not a bag. I want to make something, anything else. And I was digging through all these vintage patterns, and I found a couple things that I was interested in. And then it was like, I just don't know how to translate this. Like, I don't understand the fusibles that they ask for. They're
Oh, yeah.
different than what they use for bags and things like that. Like,
That's really important that you're the right one.
yeah. And I think that would be really interesting stuff to be able to learn is how to do that. How to, in some of the featherweight, it's like, yeah, use a featherweight interfacing of some sort. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is.
It's just gonna be like almost the same thing that you would use in a t-shirt. I do this all the time. I'll use like SF 101.
Mhm.
Whenever it's calling for interfacing in like a collar or something or a waistband.
Yeah.
That's my preferred. And it does come in black.
Mhm.
Yeah. If
What do
you
we do when Joann's isn't open anymore and we don't have access to this stuff?
you can get stuff like that online,
Yeah, that's going to be a pain though.
or you're gonna be forced to go to Hobby Lobby.
Oh, well. That's an option, I guess. At least there's something.
But
Michael's is expanding their fabric though, right?
so Michaels owns the Hancock Fabrics brand.
Okay.
And so you can get fabric online from Michaels. They might have
Mhm.
interfacings too there. Some stores, I've not seen it locally, but some stores do have some fabric in the stores.
Oh,
But
they're probably testing it to decide if they actually.
it's the same stuff that Joann's has. Like you'll find fabric editions there and things like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, shape flex. Is it
There
shape
are,
flex? Is that what it SF?
I believe so. Um, anything that is polyester
Mhm.
or that you're not supposed to really iron, you want
Mhm.
sew and interfacing
Okay.
because you will melt the
See,
fabric.
all of these things are just things that they don't put in patterns. This
No, they
is like
don't.
a
They expect you
2.0
to know it because you
situation.
grew up in those days, you grew up learning from your parents or in home ec, and it's things that you just were expected to know how to do.
Right.
And that's not how the real world works. And I've learned a lot just from having to alter for my daughter, Angela.
Yeah.
Like Lily, I can make the pattern whatever size it says it
Right. It's
is.
gonna work. But Angela is like,
Well, it's her
whoop.
own way. Yeah, basically. So I learned a thing or two with her.
I imagine. Yeah. What about Sweatergate? What happened with your sweater that you made?
Oh, well, it still exists.
Wear it
She can
though?
wear it. She just can't wear it to school.
Oh.
See, there's a store in Evansville that's called Let's Sew, and they have everything except yarn. There are
Oh.
a growing number of quilting shops that also have garment fabric.
Well, I think that's going to be like a thing going forward.
And a lot of them, even if you can't get the garment fabric, you can still get like the SF 101.
Right. Good to know.
And
Yeah,
if you're doing
it's a different world.
anything you're doing that you're using quilting cotton with, you're safe to use a fusible interfacing with.
Well, good, because I know how to do that.
Yeah. The only time I haven't used fusible is when I made Angela's Nutcracker costume because that fabric would have gone up in flames if I would have tried to iron it at all.
Oh God.
But I still needed it. You know, I still needed fusible and still needed interfacing in there for the collar to be shaped correctly and
Right.
the waistband to be able to hold.
Okay, that makes sense why you would use a different.
And when you do that, you just do a basting stitch around.
Okay.
In the seam allowance, which you have a lot more wiggle room with because the seam allowances are so much
Or
larger.
5/8, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it'll be 3/8, depending on where you're at. but
Do they do 5/8 because you can have that room for expand?
I think they do it because if you put your needle all the way to the left, and you
Mhm.
have it lined up with the edge of your presser foot, it's 5/8.
You would
Oh,
not
yeah.
believe that I learned how to sew on garment sewing and then like moved to
Forgot it all.
quilting, and all of that is basically gone from my brain. But then
It's
again, yeah, I wasn't advanced garment sewing by any means. It was like pajama pants and shirts and
so the biggest thing so if you're like a B cup, you
Mhm.
don't have to alter anything with a breast stir. You're fine. It's if you're larger, if you're smaller or larger, that's when you have to start messing with stuff.
Well, then
Uh,
I'm good. I never have to worry about anything.
yeah, you
Now
can.
everybody on the internet knows my process.
Mine is larger than that.
Larger than life.
I have to put more things in.
That is where we deviate from the 13-year-old boy.
Yes, that and my tummy. But
Yeah, me too.
I do know how, like, there'll be lines on every single pattern. It says lengthen or shorten here. So, like, I use that a lot with Angela because I'll make like a size 3 for the waist, but obviously she's not a 3-year-old, so she needs a lot longer
Right.
for
Oh
other
my
things.
God. Sorry,
And
girl. I'm starting to get super tired. My eyes are getting itchy and everything.
or same for
Oh.
like for pajama pants. Like I made myself an
Mhm.
extra large, but that's size for like a 6-foot man, and I'm 5'2". So
Right. So we take
measured
in
the
where we need
inseam
to.
and took it up, and you know,
What about making denim? How hard is,
God.
can you imagine making jeans?
I mean, you heard what my sewing machine was doing with the jeans thread.
Yeah, your machine.
My machine doesn't know how to do that. I think you would need an industrial machine in order to do that. Like that's something you want to do on like a Juki or
Yeah, one of these straight stitch
yeah.
hard. Yeah, maybe the Bernina there would handle it, but yeah, that would I have no intention of doing anything like that, but people made their own
Doll
denim.
jeans. I've made doll jeans before. That's enough.
Really?
Yep.
Sounds like a lot of unnecessary work.
It was the first
Well,
one I
it
did.
depends on what you're using. If you're using that stretch jean that isn't really jean, but like looks like jean, or if you're using denim.
The first one I did was awful. And then because I had a self-threading jeans needle, whoever the hell thought that was a good idea was wrong. Like it was the dumbest thing ever. That was the worst thing to sew with. And then once I tried it again many years later, like I'd cut everything out and then I made the one pair and I was like, I'm never doing this again. But I had left everything in the clear sleeve, like the page protector thing.
Mhm.
I left it all together and then I finally went back and did it all and it was not bad at all. And I was like, why was I afraid of this? So
We do that to ourselves, though. We remind ourselves of all the terrible, and then like it's really not that bad.
it really wasn't at all. But well, on that note, maybe we should call it a night.
I'm ready for 9 nights.
You ready?
As I would say for my toddler, I'm ready for 9 nights.
Well, I will start sending you memes so you can go to sleep to them.
Yeah, so that I can go blink, 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 blink
Put
over
that
and over
phone on
again.
silent.
I
Turn
gotta
off
go
your
get a
phone.
snack. I was talking about midnight sandwiches. I could really use,
You go make yourself a midnight sandwich.
I don't think I had dinner.
That would be important.
I had like half a piece of pizza. That doesn't even count. It was really terrible. I smiled through it because my husband made it, but I just ate a lot of ranch on it to make it go down. It was really not good. I
My
remember now.
in-laws brought out a quarter cow last weekend, and so we have had beef every single night this week.
All the beef.
All the beef, and it will be all the beef for the whole year.
If you have a good brisket on there, you know who to call. John and his midlife crisis meat is ready for you.
I was Googling how to do a round roast in a crock pot because that is my
Mhm.
thing of choice there.
Yep. I like
But
a crock pot too.
I had a really good chuck roast crock pot situation. It literally takes like 10 minutes to throw everything together.
Mm.
And then 6 hours later, you have good food.
Yeah, see, I could live that life. The problem is that my kids are like, you don't cook, but then it's like, but you don't eat. That's not fair. You don't eat anything I make. You don't eat anything. I can't make you a McDonald's chicken nugget. So
This is true. I really wonder what Lily's going to eat on the cruise.
she'll eat something. There will be
I
like
cannot
strawberries or
bring a
something.
frozen bag of Kirkland chicken nuggets with.
I
That's
hope
not
you bring
gonna-
one. You
I'm not
should.
gonna- I'm
It'd be
sure
hilarious.
there'll be food issues, contamination by the time we get that far.
Yeah, that's
Dry
fair.
ice, like it's a organ for donation.
Well, and bringing that into like, Canada might have consequences. Like, can
Costco
you?
in Canada. Could I get some Kirkland chicken nuggets in Vancouver?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's to find this out.
Questions.
I need to do research.
You'll have to cook them and put them in a little like thermos and just feed them to her one a day.
You have your rations.
You won't eat this. You get this cold chicken nugget from 5 days ago.
Oh my God. You better expand her palate.
Yep. It'll be
All
good.
right. On that note, thank you, everybody. Good night.